Badrinath Kaleru, the principal architect and director, co-founder, Studio Ardit. We have Kamal Periwal, principal architect, Maheshwari and Associates, AMA. Khushbu Bansal, principal architect, Stapati. Saurabh Dalal, co-founder and design partner, BPA. Next up, we have Rahul Behel, managing director, Krishna Bale Estates. Vinita Singhania, founder partner and principal architect, Confluence. Nitin Bansal, senior vice president, DLF. Manisha Bhatia, country head, business director, urban design director, BDP. Mehul Parekh, president, CSG, construction chemicals, Pidilite Industries. And lastly, Abhishek Bridge, partner, Design Plus.
Thank you all for your patience and especially the panelists for their patience while we waited for the previous one to wrap up. Today's session is about scale and construction. And I think what we want to talk about is the problems that construction industry has at the entire spectrum of scale and skill, right? So from the time that a person is making a single family home to the point of view of making large developmental projects like airports, etc. The context, just to give everyone a context, I mean, our panelists already know this, but this is for your benefit. The context is that India is going to build 70% of its urban habitat over the next 20, 30 years. We still have to build billions and billions and billions of square feet. Now, we have come this far in a manner that is not really tenable or sustainable for the country in terms of environmental degradation, in terms of resource preservation, or in terms of any of those things that we think are important, right? Whether it's the quality of air, quality of cities, walkability. The previous panel did discuss that quite a bit. What we want to do in this constructive discussion right now is take each other's opinion on whether there are any tangible solutions for this spectrum of problems. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at a very basic level. We're going to start with skill, and we're going to try and increase the scale as we go along. So we're going to talk about planning and systems right at the end, right? So this is to help, all of you structure your thoughts. And now if you have any questions, I would suggest that you sort of write them down. And if someone has a really burning point that they want to make in the middle of the session, you can put up your hand. And if everyone allows it, I'll allow it. So what we'll do is we'll start with this idea that at the end of the day, buildings are made by people, right? And we have someone on the ground putting the building together, right? And if I could start with Saurabh, right? Saurabh, the quality of workforce that we have, right, is subject to many, many things. It's subject to migration, etc., etc. In your experience of making buildings over the last 20, 30 years, how is that workforce quality improved, gone downwards? What has happened with that?
Okay, so, I think this is the right point to start at, is that at the end of the day, it really comes down to the manpower. And as you just mentioned also, this is really migrant labor that has been building most of the projects over the last 30, 40 years. And I think as buildings become more complex and, timelines more critical, we have to move beyond that.
We are competing against so many industries that the quality of engineers coming out of universities has really decreased. And that is probably because of lack of practical training. So we ensure that there is a lot of hand-holding for these engineering professionals who come in. So that's at the staff level. But when you go to workforce who are actually constructing buildings, the masons, the labor, the carpenters, the skilled guys, again, there's a different story there altogether. 2 decades before, we had huge amount of workforces who wanted to do this. But since they have made their money, they've seen the growth, their next generations is not interested to pursue this.
Yeah. Those who are working, and they keep on changing, the staff keep on changing, the labor keep on changing. So the quality which is continued to be, we have trained to bring that quality. We have made the mock-up and all. So this is not happening. So I've connected to SOVA developer. And I've asked them to how you are doing all this quality control and all. So recently, during this maybe last month, 7 days I was in Dubai, and I've seen that they are making toilet in the factory.
Our skilled labor, the pressing issue today in construction industry is the skilled labor. That's any construction site that we go to. Why can't the labor be skilled? So, like the previous speaker said, that a plumber's son won't become a plumber, and they would either become a lawyer or a CA. Why can't this industry take as a construction industry be a mainstream skill? Why can't carpenter's son want to be a carpenter? Why, if it is an important factor in a construction industry, construction industry is going to grow. We are talking about large scale. So when we are talking about such a large scale, we have to streamline this. We have to skill our labor, and we have to skill it in a way that we train them well, and it becomes an important industry, probably more glamorized industry like an IT industry or any other industry.
How does someone become skilled, right? We have been all learning through our school, practice makes you perfect. So unless you keep doing something repeatedly, that's when actually the skill is going to get honed. You'll become more and more better. But on every project, if the skilled workers are asked to work with different products which have different methodologies of their own and complexities of their own, then the sort of skill development in a sense is going to be always limited. Plus the fact that you have to modularize, you have to go with precast, prefabrication. Those are the solutions that we actually are advocating and we are working towards as a construction solutions provider also. And then when you come to skilling and training, it goes hand in hand. So basically, training is not just about, explaining someone on a theoretical concept. We have actually 7 training centers that we run as Pidlite. It's obviously a drop in the ocean in terms of what the Indian construction industry will need. But at least from the point of view of training and skilling, specialist technicians who work in waterproofing or in building envelope solutions, we are this year going to train about 10,000 people, for example. Now that's a drop in the ocean, but the approach towards training is that they come for a 2-day program where 1 day, in terms of the time duration, is literally hands-on training.
The concern about the labor in India, and as far as the real estate, it's not a real estate problem. It's a sociologist or an anthropological problem. मेरा बेटा डॉक्टर बनेगा क्योंकि वो पैसे ज़्यादा कमाएगा. वो अगर उसको कारपेंट्री में ज़्यादा पैसे मिलेंगे वो कारपेंटर बनेगा. So it's a social elevation issue. It's not a real estate issue. Yeah. Right? Also, there are certain points about, I agree with you, modularity and standardizing processes as well. But standardizing for who? For that is the person, with all due respect, is the person who is in Pidilite only then good for Pidilite because he is aware of those standardization processes. Yeah. Anthropologically, पत्थर वाला राजस्थान से अच्छा आता है, आपका प्लम्बर ओडिया से अच्छा आता है, उसका क्या मेरे anthropological skills का कोई महत्व नहीं है in the industry that is going to standardize? So hence I'm just saying that I personally think real estate pays too much onus on itself. Yes, a developer should train its team for that building, and he or she should return for the next 10 lakh square feet that person is building. And I'm sure, Nitin, you had certain stories we were sharing outside, and you can elaborate on that further. But as a result of this, the larger strength of countries like India or Mexico and so on and so forth is the sociologist, anthropological strength that the labor had.
2.5 decades back, I was working in the UK and I was interning at whilst I was studying, I was interning at a construction company for some time. And my starting salary when I finally got a job was 1/3 of what a bricklayer or a skilled tile layer back in the UK was. And I was I found that quite, I found that
So
amazing.
there's
I dug into it
fewer
a bit.
bricklayers and more architects.
Oh,
basically.
yes, way more architects, very few bricklayers. But what was interesting is that because the person in question was so expensive, even today they would be earning like 45 lakhs a year easily. The project had been handled in such a way that everything was in place, and then this guy comes and he does the work of 10 people that we would be using in India perhaps in one day, right? Yeah. He does it all. He does it beautifully. All the lines are straight. Everything is plumb. The horizontals, verticals. So all these beautiful Instagram magazine pictures you see of these simple London subway tiles, that's by one guy, right? One guy who has that expertise. So skilling is quite critical, and I think it is about elevating it to a level where it's affordable. Somebody would aspire to get their child to go down that path.
See, buildings are always going to be built by people. You need to take care of the people if you need them, and also you need to skill them. Now, everybody is looking for a skilled person, but nobody is taking the responsibility of skilling them, right? So even if it's an architectural firm, we need architects who are skilled, right? Those architects don't come out of a college. Similarly, all developers or contractors, they are looking for skilled labor. But I think large contractors, large developers need to take the responsibility of skilling them. So I've seen some of the successful strategies in some of the firms I've worked, that when you build large projects of scale of millions of square feet, so you're always in need of labor. To an extent, one large project will have at least 5,000 to 8,000 labor working on a project at one single time. And there are batches and batches, or rather in their language, gangs and gangs of workers who come and go.
When I was in Japan, even when we talk about architects and we talk even in Europe, it says that every plumber would actually have so many licenses for doing a particular job. So when we have the more amount of licenses, it depends very difficult to get to the plumber. For example, I myself, when I was studying in Paris, had to wait for 15 days to get an appointment with a plumber who would be fixing this thing. And my friend was ready to offer DIY services. He can come over, because it was very difficult to get a plumber. Then it was difficult to get an architect. Like, my manager was helping me to fix my own toilet, but I can't get the plumber because he said, okay, if the plumber is coming, it was as if like an officer was coming to it.
We also read about the EPC projects that is coming in. So it's a very fancy thing. So when it started 2, 3 years, 4 years back, so EPC is bringing in a thing where a design is from a concept architect, and the detailing is from the concept, detail is from another architect, and wherein in the benefit of the contractor, architect is only pushed down, and later the problem is of the architect. But actually this is not right. I would say that it's actually the problem of the kind of the project we are dealing. We want to build very good, but if whether I still have a question in mind whether EPC is the right way ahead for a good construction project, whether we have to build nice or we just have to build for the sake of building it.
It is about having all the stakeholders in the room on the first day and using their experience, using their feedback to achieve better outcomes.